Welcome back. November is National Native American Heritage Month, so we want to end this hour with a new book that celebrates Indigenous culture through its food. It's a cookbook titled Turtle Island. It's a collaboration between three-time James Beard award-winning chef Sean Sherman and award-winning writer and editor Kate Nelson. But it's not your average cookbook. It's an exploration of the food, tradition, and history of the Indigenous people of North America.
It's a legacy that's been passed down for generations, but is often overlooked today. Turtle Island officially hit store shelves on Tuesday, and it's already been praised as one of the top cookbooks this fall.
We are excited to have Chef Sean Sherman and Kate Nelson join us now. Good morning to both of you, and thanks for taking time to chat with you. I know you kick off your book tour officially today, tonight in Washington, then tomorrow you'll be here in New York. Chef Sherman, I want to start with you. Congrats. Tell us about the title, Turtle Island. What's the significance of it, and why did you choose that as the title?
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. Turtle Island is kind of a pan-Indigenous notion of the world being born on the back of a turtle shell. So a lot of tribes utilize that notion of Turtle Island meaning and signifying North America, which is why we did this book, because it looks at North America without colonial borders, from Mexico through Alaska, and showcasing all the Indigenous diversity that's out there.
Kate, tell us about what's in this book. I know it's more than 150 recipes, but they're ancestral and modern. What can people expect? How's it different maybe than other cookbooks out there?
So, it is first and foremost a cookbook, but it's so much more than that because it has so many deep stories about how food, culture, history, and land are all intertwined, because we really wanted to showcase that, for Indigenous communities, food isn't just about nourishing our bodies. It's also about preserving culture, telling stories, and sharing our traditions, beyond our Indigenous communities.
Chef Sherman, you have been a chef for more than 30 years. You're one of the leaders of the Indigenous food movement. Your restaurant in my hometown in Minneapolis, Owamni, is legendary, uses no ingredients that Europeans introduced to the continent. So we're talking about no wheat flour, no cane sugar. Talk to us about why you started cooking in the first place and just why this Indigenous food movement is so important to you.
Well, I'm Gen X, so I was latchkey, so I had to start cooking at home right away. And I jumped into restaurants when I was 13 years old, and I just kind of went through all of high school, college, and eventually moved to Minneapolis and made my way into a chef career at a pretty young age, but eventually found my calling of just trying to focus on my own heritage and just addressing the fact that there were very few Native restaurants out there, if any, and that we should have more Native American restaurants across Native America.
Kate, I know that you traveled far and wide while making this book. I'm wondering if you can just tell us some of your favorites, both when it comes to who you met and recipes.
Okay, well, that's tough because, in these different communities within these regions, there were so many unique stories, but also really shared ones around, again, how important food is and how, up in Alaska, I'm Alaska Native, so up in, my home region, that food security is food sovereignty, meaning that, these traditions have been preserved not just for cultural reasons, but also out of a need. So for me, the hot smoked salmon recipe is a favorite, but really with more than 150 recipes, hard to pick just one dish.
I bet.
Chef Sherman, is there a recipe in here or just a couple that you can talk about that just might surprise people? Something you discovered while researching this book that you're just incredibly excited to share with people about, something that they can do that maybe they didn't think was possible?
Well, I think that there's just a lot of seasonal and regional foods to showcase the differences between what's the foods of northern Alaska versus the East Coast versus the Southwest versus southern Mexico. And, and we shot a lot of these photographs in season. So something like goldenrod shoots, in the springtime, and having a very simple recipe with using just foods coming out of the spring in the Great Lakes region, for example. And so we really tried to make food taste like where it is, and really kind of using that challenge of cutting away colonial ingredients and focusing on what are the Indigenous ingredients that sets all the regions apart. So there's so many recipes, it's really hard to choose just one. And not every recipe in this book you'll be able to make, because there's a lot of plant and protein diversity across this book. There's everything from seal and bear and javelina and deer and all sorts of things, on top of the massive plant diversity.
I think right when people have a cookbook, one of the main things that they're just trying to get out of it is dinner on the table that night. But when it has this deeper meaning and to you and a potential experience for learning for people, there's so much more to it. I'd love to hear from each of you, if you don't mind, just what it is that you hope that someone takes away from this book.
You know, at the very least, people should understand that Indigenous cultures and communities are here. We're alive, we're thriving. And like Sean said, that there is so much variety and diversity, and that there's a lot of, knowledge and ancestral wisdom that's been passed down generation to generation that we all can benefit from and share. So we really welcome people in to learn more about our communities, our cultures, and, the foods that you can cook from this book.
Yeah, and I would say that, food is such a powerful language that I hope that people could really start to understand and empathize with different cultures from all over the place, especially in a world where we're demonizing people for speaking Spanish, and I think that these colonial borders have crossed all of our Indigenous territories, and this looks at what does the world look like without these colonial borders, and how can we start to appreciate diversity instead of trying to be afraid of it and homogenize everything.
I love that. Food is a language. Chef Sean Sherman, Kate Nelson, congrats on the book, which is out now, Turtle Island. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.